Welcome to the Eldercare channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm the Marketing Director for Horizon Elder Law and Estate Planning, as well as today's host for the Contra Costa County Eldercare channel. Today I'm here with Jann Oldenburg, the President and Founder of Senior Visionary Services. Senior Visionary Services is about to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
They've been assisting seniors in relocating when living at home is no longer a safe option. Jann and her team work all over the Bay Area. They cover a huge area. So where exactly do you have offices?
Boy, Stephanie, 10 years ago I just started in Alameda County, and now I have 8 representatives, local representatives, in counties from Napa, Sonoma, Contra Costa, of course, Alameda County, Santa Clara, San Francisco, oh my golly, Monterey, San Benito, Santa Cruz, about 10 counties actually.
That's excellent. You've really grown this business. Good job.
I'm really proud of it. I love the people that I work with. That is really key. All of my team are professionals in the business. And I hate to say it, but time flies, but we're all over 50. I won't tell you how much over 50, but we're all over 50. And so we have just years of experience in this industry. And I look at this industry as being more of the assisted living industry, where I am a part of by being a placement specialist. But more so than just placement, we are transition specialists, transitioning the senior from perhaps their home to an assisted living environment, or perhaps finding a home care agency that is qualified with appropriate caregivers to take care of the senior safely at home. So we've expanded our expertise to really encompass more of the total needs of the seniors in our communities.
That's excellent. Well,
Thank you
for sharing. So Jann's worked with seniors since 1997 and is extremely passionate, as you can see, about what she does. Jann, what led to your decision to start working with seniors in the first place?
Good question. One, probably timing. I'm from Washington State, and I had a business up there actually for 6 years, and decided to sell it. And once I sold my business, I'm going, now what else do I do? Well, my business that I was in Washington was really, the industry was shrinking and it was becoming more corporate. And I decided that I wanted to get into a growing industry. Well, with my age, which I was in my 40s, it really lent itself for me to look at the assisted living industry. I had heard about it. I'd been reading about it, and it was good timing for that. Also, my mom was living in California, as well as my daughter Lauren, and I wanted to come back to California. I really did, and I'm so close to my mom, and she was very instrumental in my decision in going into senior living. She was a wonderful gal. She passed away 3 years ago at the age of 100,
Wow.
and I really was hoping that any senior could perhaps live like she did, with a positive energy, um, involved with activities, exercise, ate well. She was the epitome of a great senior. And I wanted to continue that spirit, that attitude with what I was doing next.
Yeah.
So she was really wonderful. Another thing that really interested me and um, always was community service. And I joined Rotary back in 1988. I was one of the first women in Tacoma, Washington, Rotary Club. And I loved Rotary because it also um, really reinforced service above self and the ability to think of others. And I wanted to get into an industry like that, that I could give back what I know into the community.
Yeah.
So this was just a real great way of doing it. And I was fortunate. When I came down to California, I was hired by a very good assisted living group, and I opened up, or let's say I assisted in opening up, because there are a lot of people involved in opening up assisted living communities. But I did that for this company. I loved what I did. I met hundreds of families. I spoke to hundreds of families. And that was a major reason for coming into my own company. Being always an entrepreneur, I wasn't fearful of taking that risk, because I knew the need was there. I knew the need was there to have someone objective in our industry to help people in a personal way, not just over the phone, not just as a marketing person to try to fill up a building, but really understand what the family's needs were, what their expectations were, and also the senior and what they wanted and what they needed as far as care. And that takes time. And it also takes personal involvement. So when I started my company, it was important for me to start it in a way that the foundation was there. And the foundation was to try to keep seniors in a safe environment, as happy as possible, to give them the life that they deserved. And I have always followed that motto. My associates are the epitome of the company. They represent me. They represent Senior Visionary Services all over the Bay Area, and this is what we stand for.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
We've worked with Jann over the years and have seen her, as well as her whole team, go above and beyond for her clients.
Thank you.
Part of doing that is individually touring communities on a regular basis, providing clients with multiple choices in the search, as well as following up with the client after they've moved in. And you guys do quite a bit of follow-up after, right?
We do. In fact, I've just also created a follow-up for skilled nursing and hospitals too, so that we can keep them in the loop in regards to how their patient is doing once that they've been discharged. It's not just a matter of saying, hey, Mary's doing just great over in XYZ, but we are actually giving them information that they can put in file. And that's going to be important to them, because if they need to intercede to give home health or other kinds of help medically, because assisted living is not a medical community. It was started as a social community, and although it has grown and we can do so much more in the industry, we're still not medical. So medical people need to know what's going on with their patients in this kind of an environment. So I think that's going to be really important as time goes on. But yeah, we do so much more. We are involved in talking to families, giving a listening ear, assessing a senior with an extensive assessment program, sharing that with the family, sharing that with the communities that we feel that would be best suited to take care of their loved one, taking people on tour, as you had mentioned. I think that's really important, to take people on tours, not just send them around with a list. After all, how are they going to know what questions to ask? How are they going to know what to look for in a community? It's important to have someone that has the experience with them to ask the questions that they forget, ask the questions that they wouldn't know to ask, to bring attention to certain things, and to be able to communicate and talk about that after the tour. So this is very important, this touring process. We also negotiate prices. People don't realize that we can do that. And one of the reasons is because we bring so many more people to them. It's not just that we're coming in ourselves, but we are part of their industry. We're a part of the extension of them, you see. We also represent them. And they will give us what they possibly can. Of course, they're held with corporate decisions and also business decisions, but they will go over and above what they can do for us. And I'm pleased, because they are they're also a member of our team, and that's what we create, is a team. So we'll negotiate pricing, we'll help with the care plans. You go, oh, what is the care plan? Well, this is something that is done by the community that the senior is moving into prior to the senior moving in. Uh, the personal care director, the administrator, uh, the person in charge of creating the care plan will assess that senior, will create the daily needs plan that they give to the caregiver or caregivers in order to execute on a daily basis. So we help with that to make sure that all of these needs are covered and by the right people. Uh, then, of course, you were mentioning, Stephanie, that we follow up after placement. So important for the families to realize that we are there for them. It's not just a matter of finding a body for a bed. That's not our business. We are there to help support them, it's an emotional decision. It's difficult. They need to have that hand holding, and they need to know that their decision was right. So we do follow up, not just once, not just twice. We can follow up a number of times. Excuse me, just to give them the peace of mind. And if there are questions, we can guide them to the right person to talk to if they don't know already. So,
That's great.
so I think we're pretty thorough. I don't know what else to do other than to hire a nurse, but well, I actually do have a nurse. I have a nurse up in Santa Rosa. She's a registered nurse, but she doesn't do nursing. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not wanting to get into the medical side of things.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the other benefits to working with you is it doesn't cost anything to the clients.
That's true. And people go, ooh, now, well, how do you get paid, right? So what we do is that we preview all of the assisted living communities, the board and care homes, the specialized dementia units. We evaluate them. We talk to the administrator, the caregivers. We understand the type of senior that they are comfortable in taking care of. We then look at them and decide, can we represent you? Would they be a good representative for us too? If so, then we give them a contract, which means that we are going to be coming in with our families to meet them, and they will have the opportunity of discussing their services with our families. From there, if we place a person in their community, they will pay us a nominal fee. So you see, we're not charging the families, but look at what we're giving the families in return. Even though it is free, we're giving them our expertise, our professional advice. We're taking them to these places. We're giving them the comfort and the emotional support. So it has really worked out well. And then as far as the communities paying us, they gladly pay us. One of the reasons is that we don't charge a lot. And that is something that I'm getting more concerned with as time goes on and more placement companies come into view, especially those on the internet, because they don't give the service, but they charge a lot more. And I believe in fairness, and I don't believe in charging 100% of the first month's rent, 120%, which one of the large internet popular companies will charge. I don't believe in that. I don't think that that's good for any of these communities. They have to pay their caregivers. They have to buy food for the seniors. They have to provide the appropriate care. So that's very important for me to point this out to families, that when you're dealing with internet companies, you're dealing with a limited amount of interaction, also large fees to the facilities, which many of them over time would not be able to afford to stay in business if that's all they had to rely on to get people. So yes, the internet is wonderful for gathering information. In fact, I love the internet to get information so that I can learn. And I learn a lot through the internet. But there's a difference between gathering information and then executing that information in a way that is positive for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
as you said, I'm passionate about my business.
very, yeah. Without using any real client names, obviously, for confidentiality reasons, can you share an example of a particular client that you've worked with that really had a special place in your heart?
Oh, there are so many of them, and you know they're great. And in fact, I have so many clients that are my personal friends now, and I love that. I have several that I have dinner with on occasion, and they're just my good friends. But let me share something with you that didn't happen that I think worked out well for the family. A gentleman called me. He was referred by a social worker, and actually, the social worker was one of his clients. And he asked me if he could use my services because his wife had dementia, and it was Alzheimer's. But the problem is that he was keeping her at home. He was paying around $16,000 a month for home care. And you go, oh my gosh. But that is not unusual for home care, especially now. Rates are increasing because of government involvement with number of hours that the caregivers are working in a home, and insurance policies that have gone up. It's very expensive actually to run a home care agency properly. But so he was paying this much. He wasn't even living in the home. You go, why wasn't he living in his home? This was his wife, right? Yes, it was his wife. But this was a second marriage. And I'm running into more and more people that are involved in second marriages with children and so forth and so on. And later in life, that can become very convoluted, and problems can occur when one spouse is failing and the children are getting concerned. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, the situation involved then a fiduciary. They had to get someone that was more objective and still had the professional expertise involved to help care for this woman's needs and help make decisions. I was called in because the husband was not comfortable working with the other people, the attorney, the fiduciary. It was all very threatening to him. Not that the fiduciary and the attorney had anything wrong with them or they were doing anything wrong, not at all. But he was not comfortable, and he didn't feel he had the support. So he brought me in as the support. We found a solution for his wife, and I was very proud to be a part of that team to do that, whereas we did place her in a specialized dementia unit and with people that would understand her, comfort her, give her the love and attention that she was showing to them. And it was so much better than keeping her isolated at home. And the cost was half as much. So that was really important for the husband because he was thinking, well, how long do I have to work in order to pay for her care? You see. So it was a real win-win. And the fiduciary was very happy with what I did for the family. And I'm just so pleased that we could help in that way. You see, so placement isn't just finding what I call a body for a bed. It's a lot more than that. And that's what gives us satisfaction as professionals in the industry and working with senior visionary services.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy with how everything has developed.
Yeah, well, that's
You
a
know,
great story. Thanks for sharing that
sure.
with us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jann and her team genuinely care about each of their clients, as you've heard, as if they're their own families. They go the extra mile in everything that they do to find the right fit for each individual, make
Mm-hmm.
sure that everything's going smoothly. Jann, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh golly, Stephanie. Only in that if you have questions in regards to what to do, whether it is money, whether it is legal advice, whether it is who's a mover in the area or who's the real estate person that you would suggest, call us. We are a great referral source. For instance, with Julie Fiedler's office, with Stephanie, I've known Julie for years, actually before I started my company, and um, these are team members that we believe in, that we know personally, that will do a good job for you. So even if you're not wanting to use my services, but you need to have something else in the community, please don't hesitate to call me. And I can also be reached through my website. It's www.seniorvisionaryservices.com. I just, in fact, changed the web to include all of my associates, so you can actually get a hold of each one personally and individually just by clicking on their picture, and it gives their email. So there you go. Or give them a call.
Excellent. Thank you, Jann.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a pleasure getting to know more about Senior Visionary Services and yourself. If you would like to learn more about Jann or Senior Visionary Services, you can reach them on phone toll free at 888-758-6719. Also, all their contact information with a link to their website is on the page on the Eldercare channel. So we just thank you so much for visiting our Eldercare channel. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.